Hello, good evening, and welcome to Dr. Says. This is a beautiful late afternoon. I am Dr. Cedric Wood, and I'm going to share some of my thoughts on the news today. I hope you find it helpful. Today, right now, it's sort of a part one, part two. I'm not going to go into depth because I'm still trying to design a figure or a graphic to describe the brain. Well, people already have graphics of the brain. Yes, but I'm graphing it out in a way to show what happens in the brain of a shooter, school shooter, knife wielder, Tyler Robinson killing Charlie Kirk. Awful, terrible. I was watching something on my phone just a few hours ago. It just popped up. And I wonder how those videos are chosen. So far, none of my YouTube videos have popped up on my phone. How do you make that happen? Can somebody let me know? But a man's video popped up on the shooting, and so I started watching it while I was waiting in the waiting room. It was very interesting because there was video of Tyler Robinson coming off the building after shooting Charlie Kirk. He went through the details of the bullet and where it went and how it might have gone and whether somebody from the back shooting from the back to the front and how it would have happened and models. And then he would cut to some other talk show hosts that were saying, there's a conspiracy going on. There were no policemen there. It's very clear that that's just a computer-generated figure on the top of that. Look, see, there's no shadow. Okay, I wish I could have gotten his name. But, once you watch it, it goes on to another one. So it's like, okay, back. No, it doesn't go back. So, good show, 30 minutes long, on and on about the details of the Charlie Kirk shooting. Very interesting. Nothing wrong with that. My comment today is, where is the 30-minute show that talks about the functioning of Tyler Robinson's brain, mind, heart, soul, and psyche? What was going on with him? This is not some made-up conspiracy. This is a young man who was unhappy with his life. He decided to dislike a famous speaker going from campus to campus, debating with the students there. And he decided the right thing to do was to put a bullet in his neck. How does somebody get to that place to decide to do something so horrendous, so evil, that they go ahead and do it? Well, this is going to be real quick. But what I'm working with today are these separate components. I'm going to say in the back of the brain, which is not totally wrong with the anatomy of the actual brain. If you want to learn where the hippocampus is and where the amygdala is and where the cerebellum is and where the brainstem is, go ahead and look it up. I'm not really referring to that. It corresponds roughly. But I'm just going to say in the brain, that in the background of the brain is our memories of what has happened to us. Well, I'm going to oversimplify it and say that in the back of our brain is all the good things and all the bad things that happen to us. What are some of the bad things that happen to the young men? These young men who get these guns and kill people. Are you interested to know why they did it? Well, let's start with the bad things. And the acronym that I've come up with is trouncil. Do you want to see it on my chart? Here we go. There it is. T-R-A-U-N-C-I-L, trouncil, right there. What are those words? They had trauma. They had rejection. They had abuse, 5 kinds of abuse. The U stands for unhealthy communication. I publish a newsletter every month for ARC, Adults Relating to Kids, out of Houston, Texas. And I'm very often talking about healthy communication if you want to have healthy childs. So the U stands for that. The N stands for neglect. Everybody knows abuse and neglect just really hurts a child's chances of growing up happy and healthy. C stands for chaos. Sometimes you have good parents that are very loving and kind, but they got to move here for their company. They got to move there because they're in the service. And that's just too much chaos. The I stands for indulgence. Okay, we all know that spoiled kids do not grow up to be healthy people, and the L stands for loss. So often you can have wonderful parents and wonderful grandparents. And then one of them gets killed, dies in a car wreck, gets a disease, pass away. That is so hard on a child. Every single one of you that had a mom and dad that was there for you all the way through age 18, 28, 38, you are blessed by God that you had mom and dad there, because the loss of that person, especially when you're 6, 12, 16, that is so hard on a child. So mom, dad, if you have children, stay with them. Don't abandon them. Okay? So that's back in the back part of the shooter's brain. And the other thing, you can do the research called ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experiences. That's in the back of their brain. So that starts stacking up, and it's either small, medium, or large. You could almost call them pockets of pain from these things. We all have them. Hopefully you have very small pockets of pain, okay? Now, I'm going to say up here at the top part of the back part of the brain is all the happy experiences. Well, those keep us happy and energetic and getting up and going to school. Maybe we get a job after school and we go and we work hard and we start saving up money. I saved up money for my job in high school and I bought a motorcycle. What fun that was. What a good experience. Okay. So these experiences float around in our brains, they resonate in our brains, and they lead to what we tend to think, how we tend to behave, how we tend to act, how we tend to feel. So if there's a preponderance of these good things up in our brains, what are the good things? E, F, G, H are some very good things. Your parents who were empathic and they were flexible and forgiving, generous and gracious when you messed up, and helpful and humble. Those are the good things that every child needs. We also need KC7. What is that? Parents who were kind, caring, calm, cool, curious, congenial, cooperative, and collaborative. So more C words. You come up with them. And if the child experiences these interactions with parents, they are doing good. They're probably able to sleep at night. They're probably free of anxiety. They can go to school and not be all grumpy about, oh, I can't believe we're learning about world history. Yeah, you are. It's interesting. And so these kids are doing great. And I could go deeper into healthy parenting skills, but I won't. Not right now. Or they experience a whole lot of negative things, which we talked about, and then that resonates, I'm just going to say somewhere in the forefront of the brain, because that gets closer to the actual physiological prefrontal cortex, where we make decisions to do things, right? We make decisions to do something now, tomorrow, maybe a few days from now. If there's a preponderance of pockets of pain, there's a likelihood that it's going to move to the front of the brain. Now, most of the time it doesn't. I'm going to hypothesize, theoretical, that there's a barrier between the bad things that happen to me and then my decision-making parts of my brain. There's a barrier there that keeps me from acting on my pain. The larger the barrier, the less likely I'm going to give in to those primitive impulses that are in the posterior of my brain. So what causes that barrier to fade away? The barrier is bolstered by all the good things that happen to me, And as good things happen to me as a child, then good things happen to me as I grow up. 10, 11, 13, 15, 16. I make friends and I get a romantic interest. Oh, she, he, my special one. And maybe I do well in sports. I'm one of the best players on the soccer team. Yes, we won a game last night. All those good experiences bolster this healthy personality. Now, the things that happened to me as a child that were negative tend to deteriorate those positive pockets of joy. I'm just going to say it's up here in the top part of the front part of the brain. It's not. It's really right there in the amygdala and the hippocampus, which is called the limbic system. That's where it's actually in. But I'm trying to draw a graphic that people that don't study psychology or the brain can understand. Because what happens is when something starts to go south, it must have started going south for Tyler Robinson. It started going south for that young man. I don't know his name, but he taught right here in North Texas for a while, but he went to Arkansas. Did he get a job there? I think he did. What happened that made him want to get a knife, go to the hiking trail, see a lovely couple and their 2 daughters, and start stabbing them? What went wrong in his life? I can tell you what went wrong in his brain or his mind or his psyche. And that is he couldn't stop thinking about teaching someone a lesson, couldn't stop thinking about hurting someone. They deserved it. And where does that come? That impulse to do that comes from the pain, unresolved childhood trauma. Every psychologist has heard that. And it's in the back of the brain and it's itching to go forward, but the barrier that's created and held strong by positive experiences keeps it from going forward. Something happened to that young man that caused his barrier to deteriorate, and the deep, dark impulses, I call it the D zone. It's deep and it's dark, and there's a drive to do damage to somebody, to cause a disability or even a death. That drive starts leaking up into their prefrontal cortex where it's called the executive area of our brain, where we start making decisions about what I'm going to do. And that's why these young men start making these decisions to do those things. And plus 2, one recently of a school, a Catholic school with children. Those young people decided to go in there and start shooting. I think both of them from like a year ago, and then the recent one ended up killing themselves. That is just so tragic. And I can't imagine there's any of those parents, of those kids, that wouldn't say, why didn't the world of psychology help me, help my child grow and heal and develop a more positive mental attitude? Well, that's a great question. Why didn't the world of psychology? Division 48 of APA is all about creating peace in the world, curtailing conflict, and dealing with stopping violence. Okay, what do they say about it? Far as I can figure out, I've been a member of Division 48 for a couple of years. They just don't say anything. Why? If you want to read about the lives of these shooters, read the books by Dr. Peter Langman, Why Kids Kill, School or Shooters. He's got another one, I think 2 more. He's working on a 5th one, he said the other day. So read his books to find out what happened to the mostly boys when they were growing up. There are a few girls that do these things. But the vast majority of adults, and it looks like even mental health professionals, don't understand the developmental process. And this is what I'm trying to figure out. This is when I'm going to come back tomorrow or the next day after I draw my diagram and show that to you. I'm going to put it in my book. This is how the book looks that I wrote. But where I'm at with rewriting is twice as long. So this is not any place where you can buy it unless you just give me a call, and I'll send you one. Doesn't cost too much money. 214-394-4040. Give me a call and say, Dr. Wood, help me out. My son, my daughter, they're driving me crazy. I need to come and see you. I love working with families, and I love helping parents understand what's going on with their child, with their children. And the more we can develop understanding, learn how to communicate in a healthy, helpful way, the chances of that child getting depressed, anxious, suicidal, and homicidal starts to go way down. Isn't that a good thing? Isn't that a goal that all parents should have? Okay, then. Give me a call. Come on in. Or I can do online if you're here in Texas. And I just want to encourage all my fellow mental health professionals, psychiatrists, psychologists, marriage and family therapists, counselors, social workers. Let's all get to talking about how this develops. It's so important, and it's being done about 5% what it should be done. Let's get that number up to 95% with a class in every high school in Texas and across the country, helping kids understand healthy personality development, healthy relationships, healthy communication, healthy parenting, healthy lifestyles, like don't bully anybody for any reason, etc. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the show. It's time to wrap it up. I can't wait to do another one of these. Once I get the graphic made, it's going to make it seem so easy to understand why these young men and women do what they do. Okay? Thank you for tuning in. This is Dr. Cedric Wood. See you next time.